So if you want to know more about our company, I have my partner with me today here. You can actually go to the website and check us out. Yeah, it's all the information I have is very transparent, right? I think you'll get a very, very good idea of what we do. All right, yep. Okay, enough promotion of my company. Yeah, so let's get on to tonight's talk. Okay, now, when I give investment talk, I do not like to give you something that you can read on the newspaper, because if that is so common, so easy to get, that means you don't need me here tonight. Yeah. So I want to give you something different, because I believe that you come all the way here, you give an effort to listen to me. So it has to be something that is even more valuable, right? So tonight, what I want to do is to give you a framework, right? In terms of how you look at investment from a bigger perspective, right? You want to understand the bigger issues, because once you get the big issues, you'll be able to find out the minor and those specific details, right? Then you can fill out the gaps, right? So once you know these big topics, right? Then you know next time whatever that you hear on the news, when you read on the read from the news, you will be able to place them accordingly. Okay, this is the big, the issue that I got it from Scott. So now these are all the minor details that you know that eventually you'll be able to place it, so that you're not confused in investment, right? In investment, you have to understand, you have to separate the noises, take out the noises, so that you know what is the real thing out there. Okay. So tonight, I will give you this outlook based on my perspective. All right, let's start with this. And what you call it, profit from disruptions. 10 years ago, when I was a fund manager, I gave a lot of public speeches, presentations to my business partners and the investors that I have. So I call them perfect storms, starting from 1998 onwards, right? So perfect storms to me means you have golden opportunities to make money, right? Yeah, so they happen at the right time, so that you know how to take advantage of them. Like storms sometimes can be bad, right? But it turned out to be golden opportunities. So that's why I call it perfect storm, right? So that was the previous slide I had. And now I call them profit from disruptions, right? This is the key word that is going to be with you for many years to come. It's called disruption. So remember this word well, right? Because this, you always remember, oh, this is a disruption. I always come across, right? Yeah, in many forms, right? Yeah, so in conclusion, this is the theme of my, in the years to come, how I look at investment, right? There will be so many disruption that is unbelievable, right? And then I will go from here. So in investment, why you want to be in investment? Because you want to make profits from it. Otherwise, there's no reason for you to be there, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is the first time I'm starting this talk series, and that's why tonight happened to be that Joel, spotted me first before I even do it on my own platform. So this is I'm honored to be here to share with you. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Okay, now first, the biggest topic in everybody's mind since 2 years ago, it must be the health crisis, right? You're talking about pandemic. I think in our generation, this is the biggest issue, right? Yeah. So it happened. The last time it happened, it was 100 years ago. Spanish flu, not Spanish fly, by the way. Okay. So health crisis is something that can kill if you're not careful, because at the foundation of everything that you have in your life, without health, all will be nonsense, right? So take care of health. And if this health crisis is the one that triggers a lot of uncertainty, all right, then we know that it is very serious. Yeah. So you can see that I think you have read all these things. Probably now all of you know all the Greek symbols, right? From the alpha to the beta to the gamma, delta, omicron, and more, right? These are all the not so important. They call it the variants of interest. But the variants concern are the really fatal ones, right? Yeah, it can kill. So now, And they come from all the geographical locations because it's a pandemic. Okay, now next slide. Okay, now let's look at coronavirus pandemic. What you're seeing now, the mutation is getting faster. The infection rate is getting higher, but you're seeing a lower hospitalization rate and you're seeing a lower fatality rate, right? So on the surface, it seems that it's going to be vaccines are working, right? Yeah, so everybody is so happy, right? Yeah, at last, we can find a solution to this pandemic. But of course, what is to come is those people who suffer from COVID, so they might have this long-term repercussion called long COVID. That means that weakness in them, like for fatigue, or maybe headache, or that kind of symptoms of the problems remain, for the maybe longer period of time. So this is the longer term health issue that all these patients will face. But of course, those majority of people will recover, right? Just a sneeze or whatever, sore throat, whatever, right? So, and after that, you thought that it's over, so it's okay. However, at the back of our mind, we are having a longer term concern, such as that I believe that the vaccines are not really proven to be really safe so far, right? Yeah, there are a lot of unknowns that we don't really know. Maybe it will take years for them to evolve. Yeah, so in the past, I think that until that the vaccines are gone through rounds and rounds of clinical trials, they will never be able to get into the market. And furthermore, currently a lot of governments are willing to agree with the pharmaceutical companies that they are not they are not going to be responsible for the consequences, and therefore there's no liabilities involved. So government signed that away to all these pharma companies, and this is why I believe that this is a one-sided thing. So I talked to some doctors personally. We were debating and arguing about this. Of course, doctors say, this is a pandemic. What do you expect, right? You really have to, make sure that the majority of the people survive, right, and not succumb to this kind of illnesses. And therefore, even a minority of the people die. So you have to accept the fact that that is the case with it. I can't accept that. Sorry, yeah, because I believe that humans' life are more important than, doing this kind of a quick relief or quick whatever. Yeah, so I believe that I'm really worried about these vaccines and the drugs that got into us, right? Yeah, so the long-term side effects are something which will maybe one day will come back to haunt us, but I hope not. All right, I hope that it will not. And of course, now you have seen that after the 2 jabs you had the booster, then now they're talking about the 4th jab. So what I'm seeing is that are we going to perpetually be on forever jab as this virus mutate and mutate and mutate? So are we going to become so dependent on the vaccines and the drugs from now on? Just like if you have the high blood pressure, they are living on the drugs forever. So this is another I think long-term problem that that might crop up, and I don't like that. So this is something which I believe the health crisis remain. At the first place, why we got into this kind of situation, why most majority of people really cannot, go through this pandemic, surviving this pandemic without this vaccine, is because they have compromised their immune system long time ago. In fact, most of us here, I think that if you eat a lot of processed food, additives, all this whatever, you are actually killing your immune system in a way. I'm very healthy conscious. Yeah, I started my very strict diet more than 10 years ago, 15, now to be exact, is about 18 years now. Yeah, so, because my father was a cancer patient, and that's why I got to know that it's something really I got to be alert on. So since then, I think that I changed my diet totally. One of the things about this health crisis is that I think the whole world has become very dependent on big pharma. That means these big pharmaceutical companies, they are running our life now. right? Yeah. So you have so many diseases in the world now, and with this bigger, overwhelming disease, right? Yeah. So everybody has to rely on them to come up with vaccines to cure you, or the drugs to to heal you, those kind of things. Yeah. So this is what I think. I don't like it. Yeah. All right. Yeah. It has a very big implication later. Yeah. Okay. Next one. You can see that it's the second big major issue. I find that every one of us will be watching it, glued to the screen in the future will be the climate change, right? You can see that this is according to World Economic Forum, right? This is a world body who has actually identified all the critical, the major issues facing the world, right? The world is facing, and they have identified the top three, actually something to do with environmental, right? Yeah. So this climate change is totally the priority of the world now, right? Of course, there are other something to do with the society, right? Yeah, you have the social cohesion, erosion, livelihood, infectious diseases, and everything. But out of the 10, you have 5 of them, all related to climate change. So 5 out of 10 is very serious. I think that it is maybe at the top of the list, right, for everybody's agenda, regardless of who you are, right? Because it's facing the world, right? These problems are looking at the world, right? So let's look at the climate change. What are the things that I would like to emphasize on? Okay, now I think you have seen frequency of these extreme events happening, right? Faster and faster, right? The damage is getting bigger and bigger. I just watched one very interesting video recently. There was this, the glacier that was formed thousands and thousands of years ago, right? And then it was in the Greenland area, and the Greenland, the melting is happening, right? Yeah, due to the higher temperature now, and the whole glacier, the iceberg, right, was dismantled. The whole block was dismantled just within like 15 minutes. The whole video lasted only 15 minutes, and the whole thing is gone. And it has taken thousands of years to form. So this is how scary it is. Whatever we are seeing is like the meltdown. This is what I call a meltdown, right? Yeah. So the key word here, later you will see that what I am emphasizing is everything is getting faster. And then the degree is getting higher, right? Yeah. So you're not going to see something that is going to take a slow pace to evolve. Everything is quickening, right? Yeah. So more and more warnings from the scientists, from the experts, they are all talking about forecasting worsening situation, right? Yeah. So this is enough about warning and letting you know that you should be paying attention. But I think that people still are not really on the toes at this point of time, right? So major problems we are seeing here. What has actually happened to contribute to climate change? First thing, resource depletion, right? We are actually taking advantage of the resources that the earth has given us, right? Yeah. So we are actually digging faster and use up all the resources that we have. So we are wasting, as usual. We have seen enough about how food are wasted. We are seeing the pollution, right? Yeah, all of us doesn't really care about what we throw away, right? Yeah, we are seeing all the plastics in the sea, right? And ended up in the stomach of the fishes, right? Yeah. So, and then we are chopping down trees, right? And burning the forests, like the Amazon recently, yeah? So actions needed. You need to have carbon neutrality by 2050, 30 years time, 40 years time. If we don't do that, we're going to be in big trouble. This is already scientifically, proven that, we are actually going towards that. So recycling and renewables are going to be the key action we have to take, right? Since we cannot get rid of we cannot stop creating waste. So we have to recycle. And then of course, the renewable, how are we going to find sustainable energy, right? Yeah, to replace the petroleum and so forth. So energy efficiency is something which we really know how to do it good. And of course, the ESG investing, which is talking about how are you going to invest, because investment will lead where all these actions going to be. So ESG will make sure that all the investing follow a certain kind of rules and standards. Yeah. Okay. Next. This is what is happening now. We are seeing a new world order, right? Why we call it a new world order is because it's totally different from last one when US was a superpower. So now we are seeing a rising China that is going to challenge US, and therefore with this collision, you are seeing a new world order, right? This is the single biggest political event, so to say, that will happen in our lifetime, right? Yeah. So as you can see that we are going towards the crossing where the China will overtake the US and the US will be in the decline. Okay, next. So this is, you are seeing what I say that, right? The first paragraph there. The second one is that we are also seeing a lot of political ideologies, are actually challenging each other. So we are talking about, in the US, they represent the democracy, right? You're talking about individual rights and so forth, human rights and so forth. But communism is another one that is totally, seems like the opposite end. So you're having that collective action, right? Government says so, right? The government decide for everybody. So totally different space here. Capitalism, like US, they represent free markets, freedom, right? They believe that markets should be able to dictate whatever is best for the people. So it should not be intervened by the government. And socialism, talking about everybody should be having an equal right, equal starting point. We call it common prosperity. That's what China is talking about now, right? Yeah, no. So and the other end, you have the liberalism, and then you have the conservatism, right? So these are all the old challenging the new, in a sense, right? Yeah. So that's why the collision is there. And Cold War, you're seeing that since Donald Trump started the Cold War in the trade, right? About 2018, yeah. And now he also started the technology war during about the time 2019, right? Now you are seeing every day on the news that Russia being accused of going to invade Ukraine yesterday, but it didn't happen. Right? Yeah. So now you're seeing that US is telling the Europe we should go against Russia, right? In the Europe. And then in Asia, he's telling the Japan, the India, the Australia that you should go against China. So US is leading a lot of this kind of confrontation happening now. That's why I call it a hot war. Hot war means military war, by the way, right? Cold war means something that is silent war. You don't see blood on the street, right? Yeah, but hot war, you'll see that. So this is what is happening now. Under this world order, you're going to see all these conflicts taking place, right? Next one. Okay, now technology is something which all of you are experiencing every day. You are having all these disruptions in your life. Sometimes you thank technology. Sometimes you really, curse technology. Yeah. We can understand that because it is having such an impact on our life. So started with technology. Let's say if a steam engine is technology to you, from 1800, that's about 200 something years ago, right? It changes the industrialization, right? So then the railway, wow, the logistic, right? They start to ferry all the goods everywhere. And then, of course, then you have the telephone came on in the 1900, right? Sudden communication improved, right? Then you have the automobile, you have the electricity, you have the computers in the 1980s, right? That is something all of us know, the difference between having computer and no computer, right? Then when the internet came in the 1990s, another big revolution. However, what you guys do not know is what we're going to see in the future. Over the next 30 years, whatever that you saw before the year 2000 is nothing compared to this technological disruptions that we're going to see in the coming years. So this is like the degree. You can see that the degree of the impact is like easily 2, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times of what you happen to our past generations. Okay, so now these are all the technologies. I think that you know that blockchain, genome sequencing, the robotics, energy storage, like now you can use battery to power the car instead of petroleum, artificial intelligence in every part of your life, from your robots, all the way to eventually that is going to be a totally brand new world called metaverse, right? Yeah. So this is all the names you're going to hear more and more and more, right? Yeah. So disruption is given. That means you cannot say, I reject, I refuse to accept disruptions. It's going to be with you from now onwards, you like it or not, right? So unemployment, you're going to see it more and more. You're going to see more redundancy of the human, playing a role in the whole production processes, or any kind of service event sometimes, right? Yeah, like you go to the mall, you have a robot answering your question, where is the shop? They don't need a person sitting there doing that job anymore. In Japan, it's already happened, right? Yeah, but Malaysia still happening our old way. Yeah. So you can see that all this will accelerate and even more dramatic in the years to come, right? So innovation can be life-changing and it can be life-saving. Like for example, thanks to the technology that we have, we can order food from our home during the pandemic. So I can't say that technology is a good or evil. It's a double-edged sword. So you must know how to handle technology. That's the key point, right? Yeah. Okay, next slide. So in conclusion, you have these 4 major factors add up together at the same time, coming to you head on like a train. So what is going to happen? It's going to what you call it a global reset. I call it. Global reset means it is such a major change until that nothing is left unchanged. That's called global reset, right? And it is not only local change, it is global degree, right? Scale of a global, right? Yeah. So this is what I say. This is what I say in the investment talk outlook. This is what the message to you is. Get ready for all this big picture, right? Yeah. Okay, next. How am I going to withstand this kind of dramatic changes that can shock me, that can catch me unprepared? So the only way to do that, I say, you have to learn how to invest on a different manner, right? If you believe that I've been so happy, investing in Malaysia and thinking that, that Malaysia will be able to withstand some of this, I think that some of the industries here, some of the companies here might be out of business in the time to come. Yeah, because these global forces are so huge that if the companies does not transform and reset, they will not be able to catch up with this world. So they will be left very far behind, right? And therefore, investment is very cruel, right? Yeah, money will flow to the best. They will not stay with the weak and the bad. Yeah. So this is why investment, you should not be using any other parameters to guide you. You should use just strictly what is good investment. So in order to do that, we call people to do global investing, because the world is changing so fast, right? The winners are emerging out of different places, right? Yeah, it will not be a single country. Even US alone will not be able to win all in this time to come. However, the last, let's say the last, since 2008, right? We track the performance of the markets since the last global financial crisis. US has turned out to be the biggest winner, right? Yeah, okay, that's the #1 market in the world for the last 13 years. And then, of course, the rest of the world, we call it the MSCI, the World Index, right? Yeah, a lot of developed companies, markets happen to be the better winners. And you can see that the rest, you have the ASEAN, and then you have the China, the Asia. And the last one, very sad to say, is Malaysia. Malaysia has been one of the worst performers for the last 13 years. 10 years ago, I told I told my investors, take out 50% of the money and invest overseas, right? And since then, Malaysian currency has dropped about 30 to 50%, depending on which time frame you use, right? Yeah, so I am telling people that I'm continuing to be pessimistic on Malaysia is because of what is happening here, right? But that's another session we can talk about. But Malaysia, if you cannot see the changes here taking place, that means that we will not be able to catch up with the world. The gap will get wider and wider. So the people here will get poorer and poorer. You don't feel it yet, but if you step out of Malaysia and you go to your neighboring countries, you'll feel it. Even Thailand today, the currency has gone up against us, right? Taiwan has gone up against us. Singapore has gone up against us, right? Yeah. So how many countries more, is actually behind us, right? So getting fewer and fewer because everybody's moving ahead and we are falling back. Yeah. So that sums up about my, outlook on our investment, right? We welcome questions later. Yeah. Thank you so much.